A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a bold move that has ignited fierce debate across the nation, President Donald Trump signed an executive order aimed at addressing the growing homelessness crisis in America. The directive, which seeks to remove homeless individuals from the streets, has drawn sharp criticism from leading Democrats and advocates for the homeless, who argue that the approach is punitive and lacks compassion. The executive order directs various cabinet heads to prioritize funding for cities that take a hard stance against open drug use and street camping, with an emphasis on creating a safer environment for citizens. The order states, "It's not compassionate to do nothing," suggesting that the current measures in place are insufficient. The document further asserts that shifting homeless individuals into long-term institutional settings for mental health or drug treatment is the most effective way to restore public order. As homelessness has escalated, particularly in states like California, where housing costs have skyrocketed, the issue has become increasingly pressing. The availability of potent drugs, particularly fentanyl, has exacerbated the situation, leading to higher rates of addiction and overdose deaths. Trump's order seems to target liberal cities such as San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York, which he perceives as being too lenient in their approach to homelessness. Critics, however, argue that many of the strategies outlined in the executive order have already been implemented in California, where Governor Gavin Newsom and local leaders have been working diligently to address the crisis. Last year, the U.S. Supreme Court made it easier for cities to clear homeless encampments, even if individuals have nowhere else to go, a move that has been met with mixed reactions. Advocates for the homeless have expressed deep concerns over the vagueness and punitive nature of Trump's new order. Newsom's office has stated that the order relies on harmful stereotypes and appears more focused on generating headlines than on creating effective solutions. Spokesperson Tara Gallegos remarked, "His imitation, even poorly executed, is the highest form of flattery," in reference to the strategies that have already been in use in California. San Francisco's Mayor Daniel Lurie has also emphasized the importance of maintaining clean and orderly streets, while urging individuals to accept the city's offers of shelter. In Silicon Valley, San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan has proposed a policy that could lead to jail time for those who reject multiple shelter offers. The executive order tasks Attorney General Pam Bondi and other secretaries to prioritize grants for states and local governments that enforce bans on open drug use and street camping. Devin Kurtz, a public safety policy director at the conservative Cicero Institute, expressed delight at the order, suggesting it reinforces California's efforts to ban encampments. However, critics like Steve Berg, chief policy officer at the National Alliance to End Homelessness, argue that forced institutionalization is not a viable solution, citing moral and legal concerns. Berg stated, "What is problematic about this executive order is not so much that law enforcement is involved, it's what it calls on law enforcement to do, which is to forcibly lock people up. That's not the right approach to dealing with homelessness." Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, a Democrat, has also voiced her opposition to punitive measures, asserting that the city has made strides in reducing street homelessness by working collaboratively with individuals to secure shelter and housing. Bass stated, "Moving people from one street to the next or from the street to jail and back again will not solve this problem." The executive order has been met with a mix of outrage and cautious optimism. Some officials see potential benefits in its fine print, while others are troubled by its aggressive tone. Mayor Bass expressed concern that the order's call to end street homelessness and simultaneously move individuals into rehabilitation facilities comes at a time when Medicaid cuts have impacted funding for necessary services. Kevin Murray, president of the Weingart Center Homeless Services Agency, noted the ambiguity in the language of the order, questioning whether it would provide funding for those willing to comply or penalize those who do not. The order's preamble paints a stark picture, claiming that the majority of the 274,224 people reported living on the streets in 2024 are addicted to drugs or suffering from mental health conditions. This assertion contradicts research indicating that while substance use and mental illness are significant factors, they are not the sole causes of homelessness. A study conducted by the Benioff Homeless and Housing Initiative at UC San Francisco revealed that only 37% of homeless individuals surveyed were using illicit drugs regularly, with many reporting a decrease in drug use after becoming homeless. Steve Berg emphasized the limitations of executive orders, stating, "It tells the federal agencies to do different things. Depending on how the federal agencies do those things, that's what will have the impact." The executive order seeks to dismantle two key pillars of mainstream homelessness practice: housing first and harm reduction. It aims to redirect funding away from programs that do not achieve desired outcomes, labeling harm reduction efforts as merely facilitating illegal drug use. The order calls for the Health and Human Services and Housing and Urban Development Secretaries to end support for housing first policies that do not promote accountability and self-sufficiency. This directive reflects a broader shift in California's response to homelessness, where lawmakers have expanded the definition of gravely disabled to include substance use and allowed for court referrals for treatment. However, Trump's order raises questions about the extent to which coercion is justified in addressing encampments. As the nation grapples with the complexities of homelessness, the effectiveness and morality of Trump's executive order remain hotly contested topics, with advocates and officials alike calling for more comprehensive and compassionate solutions. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.